Greetings, fellow gamers. I'm the Soulsborne Seeker, and today I want to start by extending a huge wave of gratitude to every single one of you who has ever supported this channel over the past 2.5 years. When I started the Soulsborne Seeker project back at the start of 2023, I never really thought that it would get any sort of attention, let alone the thousands of people who ended up becoming a part of this community, something that continues to humble me to this day. Whether you're a lurker, a commenter, or a subscriber, someone who has shared the word when it comes to the channel, or perhaps a person that dropped by for a while and then went on their merry way toward new adventures, it goes without saying that all of you are the reason this endeavor has reached the heights it has, and for that I will always be in your debt. That being said, in case this video is the first time you've ever heard of me, hello and welcome to the fold. If you're into Metroidvania and Souls-like games, you've come to the right place. So I wanted to take a moment to fill you in on some news in relation to the channel's future, as well as give a brief retrospective of the journey so far. Starting from the latter, one of the main reasons I created Soulsborne Seeker was, and continues to be, my love for independent game creators, whom I consider to currently be the lifeblood of the gaming industry. What I envisioned for the channel was a place I could use in order to shed light onto obscure indie games that did not get that much attention in the first place due to budgetary constraints that kept developers from investing into any sort of advertising and promotion, and it is that vision that keeps guiding me to this day. It's why I actually continue to dive into the darkest depths of the internet in order to find and drag unknown games into the light, and I would argue one of the main reasons a good number of you continue to follow my work. Of course, I had to filter my vision a bit in terms of game genres to make things more manageable, as I am just one guy, and eventually settled on Metroidvania, Souls-like and roguelite titles, since they are in my top 5 of favorite types of games, though Metroidvanias are currently the main pillar of the channel, with Souls-likes also beginning to make their appearance. As mentioned previously, when I first started, I never actually expected my work to gain any significant traction, in part due to YouTube's weird algorithm, which tends to be very problematic when it comes to appropriate video recommendations, but also the platform's oversaturation from gaming content since time immemorial. In spite of that, Lady Fortune seemed to eventually smile at me, which led to my channel being monetized 11 months after my first upload, which, for those knowledgeable on the subject, is not a bad time frame to hit that goal, something I managed by consistently uploading at least 4 videos every month, all of which I scripted, recorded, and edited on my own. Just to give you an idea of how passionate I was about this, during my first year of content creation, I did all of my recordings under a blanket to minimize echoes and sound pollution since I had zero recording equipment, and needless to say, it was a hot nightmare under there, especially during the summer. One day I might share with you snippets of those old recordings in raw form, so that you can hear my whizzing and swearing as I'm sweating profusely, and hopefully get a kick out of them. Good times. Regardless, I pushed on and constantly did my best to improve the quality of every aspect of my videos, which is a noticeable effort if you compare some of the first uploads with the latter ones, and one that I'm incredibly proud of. That being said, this whole journey eventually started taking its toll on me as I kept placing more and more weight on my shoulders in order to make the channel more successful, with the most stressful aspect of it being the game reviews. To be more specific, as a small gaming creator going against massive whales that have existed since the olden days of YouTube, it became incredibly important to pump out reviews in a timely fashion, especially of newer games, in order to get a chance at visibility, which, in turn, led to lots of sleepless nights as I did my darndest to complete games and then create and upload their video reviews as soon as possible, while also making sure for said reviews to be well written and detailed, all while working a job that would eat up 9 to 12 hours of my life, 5 days a week. As you can understand, this also led to bouts of depression and questioning whether any of this mattered in the grand scheme of things, since whales will be whales and YouTube always shows preference to Moby Dick rather than Ahab. Said negative emotions weren't constantly there, mind you. As a matter of fact, they tormented me as I was creating the videos and left me once I had completed and uploaded the videos, affording me a brief time frame of joy at my accomplishment only for them to return shortly after as I started contemplating the next few videos, given that when it comes to YouTube, the show must go on. In time, I did manage to bring bring those detrimental feelings under control and find some sort of balance between stressing over as well as enjoying the process of creation, though I'm not 100% there yet. In any case, this is not meant to be a downer video. I just figured it was important to put things in perspective, both for all of you as well as myself, since it has only been in recent months that I actually took a step back in order to objectively assess my odyssey to this point, and I've always been one for both retrospectives as well as introspectives. So with all that said and done, what is the reason behind this video's creation? Well, on that note, I'm both elated and terrified to announce that in the very near future, I, Soulsborne Seeker, will become the proud and forever stressed father of two amazing twin girls. Even though I've always been very much open to the idea of having a family, I have to admit that actually being on the threshold of it happening has been a very sobering experience for me. It's also what led to the aforementioned journey assessment, given that my life has been quite hectic for the past several months, which forced me to contemplate what my channel will look like in the future, since things in my everyday life are about to change drastically. You've probably seen other similar videos of YouTubers explaining that, now that they're parents, they will have to cut back on content or leave their YouTube channels altogether to focus on their families. Well, that is not me. Having twins has actually opened my eyes to the true potential of the Soulsborne Seeker project, since now it won't be operated by one person, but by three, which will help streamline the process of video creation to its absolute efficiency. If there's one thing that movies have taught us, and we all know that the vast majority of movies should be taken at face value because they're true, it is that twins share a supernatural psychic connection that allows them to communicate mentally and share their thoughts through a spiritual smartphone of sorts, which is definitely a real thing, and I intend to utilize this skill to its fullest extent. For reviews, one twin will be playing the games while the other will be writing the video script simultaneously, since it will be receiving mental feedback in real time, leaving me with the voice recording and video editing work. For lists, the same process will be followed, with one twin researching games and the other scripting based on the real-time findings of the first twin. I'm confident that this completely unexploitative approach will allow the channel to soar toward new heights with a never-before-seen output of videos that could reach the tens of millions per month, if my calculations are correct, which should be, since my teachers at school always told me that my skills at mathematics were bad, which I always considered a compliment because they were clearly referencing Michael Jackson's musical masterpiece Bad as a comparison to my genius. All jokes aside, things are about to get a bit challenging for me. Especially for the first few months, I'm going to be spending all of my waking hours changing diapers, caring for my wonderful wife, and cuddling my adorable babies as I learn how to be a dad, and in all honesty, it's how I want things to be. This is a time frame that both excites and terrifies me to infinity and beyond, but also one I feel has been a long time coming. Now, what does that mean for the channel? Well, for starters, you can definitely expect a bit sparser uploads during that period, given the extremely limited free time I will have in my hands. Also, the majority of said uploads will most likely not be reviews, since playing games, completing them, scripting my subsequent thoughts, voice recording and video editing them takes a lot of time, and as we have already established, I have near zero of that. Instead, my focus will be redirected toward list videos for now, since those are the most viable solution to my current adventure, given that they don't require of me to play the games, but rather find them, research them, and then turn them to brief scripts, which is something I should be able to do if I cut my sleep down to 1 or 2 hours a day. I'm not entirely sure when things will return to some semblance of normalcy for Soulsborne Seeker, but I'll try my darndest to continue bringing videos of value to you as frequently as fatherhood allows. It's definitely been a wild and bumpy ride up to this point, and things are about to get even more wild and bumpy, but I have poured a significant piece of my soul into this channel, and I cannot imagine ever letting it fade into obscurity for as long as I live. I created it during a very difficult time in my life in order to cope with a myriad of problematic situations I was dealing with, and it has since become a fundamental aspect of my existence as a creative person, which makes it impossible for me to give it up, at least as long as I have a say in it. Before we close, I once again want to thank every single one of you who has given Soulsborne Seeker even a fraction of your time throughout the years, and welcome those of you who are stumbling across it for the first time with this video. I'll never be fully able to put into words how much I appreciate you, and I hope to continue providing useful videos to you for years and years to come. Until next time, Soulsborne Seeker, about to become a father and probably never sleep again.